Greetings of the day to all. I am Shikha Kansal. I will be talking about theorems of probability, which are the precursor for the more detailed topics of probability further in the other PPTs as well. So, what are theorems of probability? What are the different kinds which we will be studying, and how to solve the questions which are related to these theorems of probability we will study in this PPT. So, the theorems of probability are, one is additional theorem, the other is multiplication theorem, conditional theorem, and we have Bayes theorem. In this we will be talking about additional and multiplication theorem. So, what is additional theorem? Additional itself means plus sign. So, what happens is this theorem, it states if two events A and B are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means that they cannot occur simultaneously or together. So, additional theorem is applied only where there are two mutually exclusive events. The probability of occurrence of either A and B is a sum of individual probability of A and B, that is probability of A or B, this or is written as union, is equal to probability of A, separately you add it with probability of B. But if we have three events to occur, if we have three mutually exclusive events A, B, C, then probability of A union probability of B union probability of C is equal to probability of A plus probability of B plus probability of C, if only if we have 3 or 4 or 5 more mutually exclusive events which cannot occur simultaneously. Then only we will apply this union formula, and we apply the formula of, that means we apply the sign of addition here, that is called as an additional theorem when we talk about probability. For example, one card is drawn from a sample pack of 52 cards. What is the probability that it is either a king or a queen? Either a king or a queen. In a pack of 52 cards, as we know, there are only 4 kings and 4 queens. Now, the probability of king can be written as Pk, whereas probability of queen can be written as Pq. So, we are supposed to find out what is the probability of drawing a card from a pack of 52 cards, and the card which we are drawing is either a king or a queen. So, as I told you, the probability of card drawing as a king is equal to, so Pk is equal to 4 over 52, because number of kings we have in a pack of 52 cards is 4 and total number of cards is equal to 52. In the same manner, number of queens, or the probability of finding out whether the card drawn is a queen or not, since the number of queens in a pack of 52 cards is 4 and total number of cards is equal to 52, therefore, this also will be equal to 4 over 52. Now, since both the events is mutually exclusive, they cannot occur simultaneously, thus what happens is we are supposed to apply the formula of PA union B, where PA plus PB. Therefore, I am supposed to add the probability of a king plus probability of a queen to get the answer for either a king or a queen. Therefore, what I do is probability of a king or queen is equal to 4 over 52 plus 4 over 52, which is equal to 8 over 52. The answer is 2 over 13. We can leave the answer here, but if you wish to, you can also find the answer in points, decimals. This is the question when we are talking about mutual exclusive events, when the events are mutually exclusive and they cannot occur simultaneously. Simultaneously here means a king and a queen cannot appear on the same card when they are drawn at a random. out of 52 cards. So, this is a question of mutually exclusive events. Now, what happens here is the next question says when the events are not mutually exclusive, that means two things can occur simultaneously, two choices of a person can occur simultaneously, can be formed simultaneously, can be shown in front of you at one draw. So, that is called as not mutually exclusive events. When it is possible for both the events to occur, then additional rule is modified. How we are modifying it? It is we are just doing it as P A or B. That means probability of A, occurrence of A union B is equal to probability of A plus probability of occurrence of B minus probability of A intersection B. This is one formula which is an addition formula, but it is being modified for the question of not mutually exclusive events. For example, what is the probability of drawing a king or a heart from a pack of 52 cards? King or a heart, what is the probability of drawing either a king or a heart from a standard pack of 52 cards? Now, kings, how many kings we have in a pack of 52 cards is 4 divided by 52. 4 is the number of kings which are present in the pack of 52 cards and 52 is the number of cards which are available with us in the pack. Now, heart, how many hearts we have is 13 hearts we have in a pack of 52 cards. So, how this question has to be solved? This question is of not mutually exclusive events, because a king and a heart can occur simultaneously on a single show. So, what happens, how to do this question is, let us assume that P A or B is the probability of king and heart happening mutually exclusive, not mutually exclusive. So, it is P A union B. This is a they are happening not mutually exclusive, that means A union B. P A is for king to occur, probability of A happening is king and probability B is heart, probability of occurrence of heart, and probability of A B is the probability they are happening together. That means something which is in common is supposed to be intersection. Therefore, the probability of a king and heart happening together is probability A intersection B, something which is happening in common. So, putting these values, we will find out the values and we will put it in the formula. King or heart, that means you have probability of king union heart is equal to probability of being a king is 4 over 52, where 4 is the number of king which are present in 52 pack of cards, and heart is 3 over 52, 13 over 52, because 13 are the number of hearts which are there in the pack of 52 cards. But king and heart, when we talk about heart, each spade, each diamond has only one king. So, a king and a heart can simultaneously occur only on one card. So, what we have done? We have subtracted 1 over 52. This one card is the intersection point between heart and king. That is, if I draw it in the Venn diagram, then this part shows my three kings, this part shows my 12 hearts, whereas this part shows 1 king plus heart. That means, in total I have 4 kings and I have 13 hearts. So, this one card is in common and this one card is showing me the intersection point between the king and the heart. Therefore, I have subtracted this 1 over 52 from your P king, that is probability of king, to the probability of heart as well, and I get 4 over 13. So, the probability of getting a king and heart together simultaneously is 4 over 13. The next question says a person is known to hit the target in 3 shots when he is shooting 3 times out of 4 shoots. That means, he is shooting 4 times, but he can hit the target 3 times, whereas there is another person who can hit the target 2 times out of 3 shoots. What is the probability that the target being hit at all when they both try? What is the probability that the target being hit at all when they both try? So, the probability of first person hitting that is mutually exclusive, they can do it separately even, they both can happen. So, what happens is the probability of the first person hitting the target is 3 over 4, because he is hitting the target 3 times out of 4 trials, whereas the second person is hitting 2 times out of 3 trials. So, this is very clear that the first person probability is 3 over 4, and for the second person the probability is 2 over 3. The events which are here are not mutually exclusive, they can happen simultaneously, separately even. Any one of them can hit the target. So, what happens is probability of A and B together is equal to probability of A into probability of B. This is another kind where we are supposed to write down, since this is probability of 1 plus probability of 2 minus probability of 1 into probability of 2. So, what happens here is when they both can hit the target simultaneously together, then probability of first, that is probability of first hitting the target is 3 over 2, 3 over 4 plus 2 over 3, that is A plus B, minus 3 over 4 into 2 over 3, just subtract them both and we will get the answer as 11 over 12. Here we have applied the formula, that is P A or B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A and B. Earlier in this we applied the formula P A or B is equal to P A plus P B minus P A and B. In the same manner, here also we have applied P A union B is equal to P A probability of A minus probability of A intersection B. This is a part which is intersection. So, we have just subtracted it from the probability of the two. The answer come out to be 11 over 12. Showing the same thing using the same formula, taking another example, a bag contains 30 balls numbered 1 to 30. Out of this bag, a ball is drawn at a random. Find the probability that the number drawn are the multiples of 5 or 7 in the first attempt, or 3 or 7 in the first attempt. Now, see how to do this question is, when we are talking about the number has to be the 5 or 7, the multiples of 5 or 7. So, the out of when we start from 1 to 30, the numbers which are multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20. So, how many numbers we get? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of those 30 balls, we have 6 balls which are the numbers 6 balls numbers are the multiples of 5. So, we have written as 6 over 30, that means the probability of getting the multiple of 5 in the first draw of the ball is 6 over 30, whereas the probability of drawing the ball which has multiples of 7 is equal to, either it could have 7, 14, 21 or 28. That means, we have only 4 numbers from 1 to 30 which are multiples of 7. So, we are having 4 over 30. Since the events are mutually exclusive and the probability of the numbers being multiples of 5 or 7 will be, we are supposed to just add them both, because they are mutually exclusive, they cannot occur together. Yes. So, what happens here is, this is P A union B, which is equal to P A plus P B, where it is multiples of 5 and multiples of 7. So, multiples of 5 and multiples of 7, I have added 6 over 30 plus 4 over 30 which is equal to 10 over 30 equal to 1 over 3. You can leave the answer here as well. This is one part of the question because they are asking you in the question multiples of 5 and 7 and they are even asking you 3 and 7. So, how to do 3 and 7 the same manner? We are supposed to find out the numbers which are multiples of 3 in the question. 3 on the balls, the numbers from 1 to 30, what are the multiples of 3? So, 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, 21, 24, 27 and 30. These are few numbers which are the multiples of 3 when we are talking about the numbers from 1 to 30. So, they comes out to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, they come out to be 10 numbers. So, 10 divided by 30, that means from 1 to 30 we have 10 numbers which are the multiples of 30. So, I have written here as 10 over 30. So, probability of getting multiples of 3 is equal to 10 over 30 which is equal to 1 over 3, and the probability of getting the number which are the multiples of 7 are 7, 14, 21, 8, the same thing 7, 14, 21, 28, 4 numbers are there from 1 to 30. So, we have the probability is equal to 4 over 30. Now, since 21 is the multiple of 3 as well as 7. So, one ball is if a ball number 21 comes out, then what happens? This is the number which is a intersection point between the 3 and 7. 21, if 21 comes out, if the ball number 21 comes out, this 21 ball is also a multiple of 3 as well as it is the multiple of 7. Therefore, this ball 21 is the intersection point P3 intersection P7. So, this 21 is the intersection point for the ball between 3 multiples of 3 and multiples of 7. Thus, drawing the ball number 21 entails the occurrence of both the events. Hence, the probability of getting the number which is a multiple of 3 or 7 is this 21 is the intersection point between the multiples of 3 and multiples of 7. So, this shows P A intersection B which is equal to 21. Thus, we apply the formula for P A plus P B minus P A intersection B. That means, P A union B is equal to P A plus P B minus P A intersection B which is equal to 1 over 30, because there is one number which is the intersection point between the multiples of 3 and multiples of 7. This 10 over 30 shows probability of multiples of 3 and 4 over 30 shows probability of multiples of 7 minus something which is in common, that is 1 over 30. The answer came out to be 13 over 30. So, this is the probability of getting the multiple either of 3 or 7. We can leave the answer here as well, and you can even find it out in decimals, your wish. Then now the next theorem comes out to be a multiplication theorem. What is this multiplication theorem talks about? This theorem states that if two events A and B are independent, the probability that they both will occur is equal to the product of their individual probability. If there are two events which are independent and both will occur is equal. So, their probability is probability of A and B is equal to probability of A multiplied by probability of B. Thus, the theorems can be extended to if we have more than 2 events, more than 3 events, just we will keep on multiplying. If for example, if we have probability of A, B, C, in the same manner we can even have probability of A, B, C, D, your wish, depending upon number of events we can have probability of A multiplied by probability of B multiplied by probability of C multiplied by probability of D, depending upon how many events you have. Now, a question says a problem in statistics is given to 5 students A, B, C, D and E. Their chances of solving the question is 1 over 2. That means, if A can solve, what is the probability of solving the question by A is 1 over 2. Solving by 1, if B can solve, the probability is given as 1 over 3. The probability that C can solve the question, chances of C solving the same question is 1 over 4. The chances of D solving the question is 1 over 5 and chances of E solving the question is 1 over 6. Now, what is the probability that the problem will be solved? Because they all, nobody is 100% sure that they can solve the question, but yes, they have some surety that they can solve the probability. The occurrence of chance or the chance of occurrence of the event are some, but it is not 100% sure. So, we are supposed to find out as to what is the probability that this question of statistics will be solved and what is the total probability by all. So, what is the, if the probability of A, if A fails, because we know that the highest probability is 1, as we have already discussed, the highest probability of any of the question is 1, that is 100%, that means it can be solved 100%, or a occurrence of an event is 100% to any of the if whatever the chances are, whatever the environment is, the 100% chances of occurrence of an event. So, the maximum probability is taken as 1, thus the probability of A fails, we are doing the question just in the opposite way. The probability of A fails to solve the question is highest probability, that is 1, minus the probability he can solve is half, that means I get half, 1 over 2, 1 minus half is 1 over 2, that means this is equal to 50%. Now, the probability of B fails to solve the problem is again 1 minus 1 over 3, that is 2 over 3. Leave the question here, it is as you wish to, but you can find out in decimal as well. Thus, by dividing 2 divide by 3, we get 0.66, that means 66% chances are there that B can solve the question, B fails to solve the question. Now, C is saying 1 minus 1 over 4, that is 3 over 4. E is equal to 1 minus 1 over 5, which is given in the question, is 4 over 5, and the probability of F failing to do the question is 1 minus 1 over 6, that is 5 over 6 here. Now, since the event, this event is independent, the probability that all the 5 students will fail to solve the question, because they all are independent events, all are independent to each other, and what is the probability that none of them is able to solve the question is, we will just multiply them all, because they all can occur, they all can fail to do the question, or they all can do the question, there could be any of the probability, but they all are failing to do the question is, just multiply them all, we get 1 over 6. But if this is the probability that nobody can solve the question, but what if anybody solve the question? What is the probability that any one of them out of these 6 can solve the question is, the highest probability I told you 1 minus 1 over 6, that is equal to 5 over 6, that are 5 over 6 is the probability of getting the question solved by any one of the person. The probability that the person will solve the question is 1 over 6, is 5 over 6, sorry. So, 5 divided by 6 gives you 80% chances that the question will be solved. So, we get here, either you leave it as 0.8, the highest probability is 1, but if you want to find out in terms of percentages, it can be 80% chances that the question, that the query can be solved by either of these student or 2 students or 3 students, but the probability is, this is how it has to be solved, that by subtracting it from the highest probability, that is 1. The multiplication theorem which we have just discussed is not applicable when we talk about dependent events. This is only when multiplication theorem is applicable only when we are talking about dependent event, non-dependent events. But what if when we talk about dependent events? What if, how to do the questions of probability, how to solve this, how to solve a problem when there are cases when you have dependent events, which theorem to apply, how to apply, and how not, why not to apply the multiplication theorem is one of the reason, one of the limitation of multiplication theorem. So, this is we just say, we can just say this multiplication theorem is only applicable when the cases, when the problem is of independent events. The same question which we had talked about, these 5 people, these 6 people were independent to each other, none of them was dependent on the other. That is why we could apply this multiplication theorem here. What if it would have been a dependent event, one student is dependent on the other and the other is dependent on the third one? What happens in that case? What will happen? In that case, we apply conditional probability, which we will be studying further in the other slides as well. From my side, that is all. Thank you so much.